Dr. Mona Becker.
Here.
Guy McDonald.
Here.
Betty Martine.
Here.
Peggy O'Donnell. Diane Wynn. Here. We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. And with all of our council meetings, we'll do what we always do, and that is to start with a moment of silent prayer. So if you join me in that, please. Now, please rise and join in the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to welcome everybody to our first council meeting of 2017. Here we are already, I can't believe it. But the first thing before council this evening is the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of the December 20th council meeting.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Martine.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
We have a first and second. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And before getting into our meeting, we'll also do what we always do, and that's the discussion and approval of our appropriations ordinance. This meeting, it totals $378,967.27. These first payments in 2017 are going to include the annual generator inspection of $3,000. We have a $50,000 debt payment for CCUA, $30,000 to Wichita for water, and $62,000 debt service payment for CCUA sewer plant. And then we also have $100,000 in new development cost. So I kind of wanted to say what some of the big items are in our first appropriations ordinance of the new year.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Make a motion to approve appropriations ordinance 17-01.
Second.
We have a first and second. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Citizens' concerns. If there's anyone who wishes to address council about any of the agenda items this evening, they may do so at this time. Okay. Hearing none, we're going to move into our public hearing. Empire Wall Systems has requested that the city issue an IRB to fund their new building and business development in the Sunflower Commerce Park. Anytime that we issue an IRB, a public hearing has to be held to give citizens the opportunity to ask questions or share concerns. So is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council on this matter? Seeing none, I guess I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So
Mr.
moved.
Second.
First and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, and we'll start with council member reports. And we'll go ahead and start with council member Martine.
No report, Mayor.
Ms. Wynn?
I also have no report.
Okay. Mr. McDonald?
Mr. Mayor, I had an incident occur last week that I want to bring before council, and that was relative to 3 people walking on my property. They weren't criminals. They were looking for a drone that had gotten away and landed in one of my trees. So they retrieved their drone, but and it was a Christmas present for this gentleman. And so there are a lot of things that you can do with a drone, and a lot of it is hobby type stuff, and you can take pictures and fly around your property and so on and so forth. And there are probably 3 areas where people are involved in drones. Westar, for example, is using drones to see if there's a power outage at some place rather than fly an airplane or send somebody walking out to it. And in any event, it's going to be, drones are becoming a more and more important part of life in the country as a whole. And many cities across the country have considered ordinances controlling the use of drones. The FAA has the ultimate authority in controlling drones, but cities like Salina, Kansas, Osawatomie, Derby, Cleveland, Ohio, cities in California, they are looking at and have passed ordinances relative to the use of drones. And I think that we should, as a governing body, as a council, consider some kind of official control for the use of drones. Because the FAA has the ultimate authority, our police officers, for example, cannot act, and if there's a complaint about a drone, there are no ordinances in our city to control that. So I think we as a council should look into that, and for public use, commercial use, and private use, consider those areas, look at the cities that have ordinances, and I say spend the next period of time, a good long period of time, so that we can, as a council, give ample consideration to whatever results come from this investigation into controlling drones. And I'd like to do that with workshops as well as the council meetings. And that ends my report, Mr. Mayor.
On the Becker?
I'd like to say that I think that's a great idea, Councilmember McDonald. That's something that we definitely need to address. And I really have no report either. Just enjoyed the holidays with lots of family and friends, and want to wish everybody in the city a very happy new year and a wonderful time in 2017. We hope that we have continued growth and good things happening for us.
Thank you. As far as my report, I just talked for a long time, so don't have much of a report. I'll admit I have fun flying my drone, but I've never had a crash yeah, so something to look into, and certainly do that. Just want to wish Councilmember Peggy O'Donnell a speedy recovery, and best wishes to her, and again to all of our citizens, just a happy new year. And we ended 2016 on a great note, and I think we're going to start 2017 on a great note, and I'm just super excited for all the things that us as a body can do. So with that, I will turn it over to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple items, just to let the public know that city office will be closed January 17th in observation of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So that is, I think, 2 weeks away. That'll be before our next council meeting. And then, as you mentioned in your State of the City, that the Bel Aire app is ready to be downloaded. So if people would like to go online, it's for Android or iPhones. And the great thing about it is that you can download a lot of information is there just at your phone now. Plus, if you sign up, there's a place where you can actually sign up your email and such, and then it's for gives the ability of the city to notify if there's bad weather coming in, if there's a water outage, a power outage, something major like that. We could let all of our citizens know that are signed up for it. So if you download it, it may ask you about signing up. You don't have to, but that's what it does, is we'll give you alerts of things that we need to get out as an emergency to our citizens. So That's all I had, Mayor.
All righty. With that, we'll move into ordinances, resolutions, and final actions. The first is the IRB resolution for Empire Wall. First, I'd like to invite representatives. We have some here from Empire Wall who are here to share plans for construction and a little, if you can come, share a little bit about your business and a little bit about your plans for the construction and all that. Please do, come to the podium and state your name and title, and we look forward to your presentation. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, my name is Ryan Nelson. I'm the owner of Empire Wall Systems. We've been dealing with Mr. Lasher, looking at some property in your industrial area, and have found a lot that we think would serve our purpose as well. We've met with a few other cities who've made some offers, but we're really leaning towards ties and working with Bel Aire on getting into that area. We think it'll work better for us overall if we can get the help that we're asking to proceed.
And continue with that thought. I like that.
Okay. Empire Wall Systems has grown exponentially over the last 3 years. We just finished 2016, as you said, on a positive note with over $10 million in sales. And that we go into 2017 with almost the same amount of sales as a backlog for the work for our construction and manufacturing facilities. So we are very motivated to get something going forward for a new facility to accommodate that. We're looking at 2,500 square feet of building space to begin with. We have much larger dreams to address, but as being conservative as possible, so this is where we're ready to start. If you have any questions, what we do, we manufacture structural steel studs and components for the commercial building industry. Currently, we are fabricating and installing all the wall panels and exterior framing at the Kansas Crossing Casino. We are at Fort Hays State building a new 120,000 square foot student housing facility at the new Wiest Hall. We completed this week the new School of Business at K-State. We have large projects all over the United States, but we are concentrating on our work here in Kansas and going to expand here.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here. Do any council members have any questions?
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor. Could you explain more at length just what you manufacture to a person and to people who do not understand what your business is about? If you could make it more simple so that everyone who is watching and listening.
Empire Wall Systems is basically a structural steel stud manufacturer and installer. We build the steel studs that are used to create the envelope, the interior walls in these buildings. This is all created by steel stud framing. We have a sister company, Cold Steel Components, which is actually a roll forming company. We manufacture our own studs to use in the building process. One of the reasons we're wanting to expand into a bigger building is we are expanding that operation itself to create more and more. We're actually going to become not only providing for Empire Wall Systems, but we will be selling into distribution in the state of Kansas.
Will you be national or international?
We are national at this point. We are in the process of completing a deal with a firm from China to actually create products here for 27 hotel and assisted living style residences that they're going to build across the United States.
Good.
So they have decided that they can't compete with us.
That's good.
I like it.
So basically what happens here is we acquire sheet metal coil. That coil is put through a machine that rolls it into multiple profiles. Basically, it looks like a big C stud, what they call a C stud. We can produce anything from 1.5-inch studs to 12-inch studs, which are used for joists, for ceilings, for large projects. Those are produced through computer-aided systems, cut to size. Then they're fabricated either into a wall panel, which are placed on a truck. So, as an example, a semi will hold almost an entire floor of a building. We'll build it in our production shop, where it's faster and cheaper to produce, ship it to the site, and where it would take a typical crew 6 to 8 hours to produce a wall section, we can set it in 7.5 minutes.
Oh, very good.
So,
Thank you for that explanation.
bet. Any other questions?
Mr. Nelson,
Yes, ma'am.
how many current employees do you have?
Between the two, I believe payroll was 82 yesterday. We plan on, once we have our new facility where we have more room, and we are planning on adding 3 additional machines. Each machine takes 2 operators. And the facility that we're going to build will allow us to bring our truss manufacturing in from 2 other places. So we'll be over in the high 80s within the next 6 to 8 months with additional, we are looking at adding some additional scope to what we do. Cold steel components is going to start, once we have our new facility, we'll start producing red iron parts, which is the heavy steel, like big columns and I-beams, that sort of thing.
Good, hope it goes well.
Thank you.
Mr. Nelson, thank you for being here. Are there any other questions? Okay. The next step that we as a governing body have to take after a public hearing is for council to approve a resolution of intent to issue the IRB. And then once we approve that, Empire Wall is going to begin working with Gilmore and Bell and their lending institution to craft the documents and financing. And of course, with all of our IRBs, the city is not responsible for the associated debt. And Sarah Steele is here. If anyone has additional questions, I can put her on the spot. Any questions for Ms. Steele? Okay. Oh, if there aren't any other questions or comments on that, is there a motion to approve the resolution of intent?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve a resolution of the governing body of the city of Bel Aire, Kansas, determining the advisability of issuing taxable industrial revenue bonds for the purpose of financing the acquisition, construction, and equipping of a manufacturing facility to be located in said city, and authorizing execution of related documents, and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
First and second, any other questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All righty. Thank you. All right. And we'll just keep the good news rolling, because I am happy to announce that Wickham Glass wants to expand. As a result, they are requesting an IRB, which of course we just went through here, to help finance their expansion. And as I said earlier, the first step for an IRB is we need to hold a public hearing and go through all the proper steps to legally and officially do that. Our staff is working with Wickham on the letter of intent and the other details. However, Gilmore and Bell suggested that the public hearing be moved to February 7th in order to complete all paperwork. I think on our agenda it said January 17th. but this has come in since that was printed at Gilmore and Bell. Again, suggested the public hearing be moved to February 7th. I certainly would like to have them complete all the required paperwork. And again, if, you know, they're here, so if anybody has any questions of staff or Gilmore and Bell, we can certainly ask them at this time. Okay. And
Mr.
hearing none,
Mayor?
is there a motion to set the public hearing for February 7th?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to establish a public hearing at the February 7th, 2017 City Council regular meeting for the purpose of a proposed IRB for Wickham Glass, Inc.
I'll second.
Second. We have a first and second. Additional questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All righty. Sir gets to come back next month.
See you then.
Okay. Let's talk about a development agreement for Broadstone Villas 2. Zimmerman Properties closed on the 4 acres for Broadstone Villas 2nd the week before Christmas, and the parcel has already been platted and ready for construction. However, the city often enters into development agreements that identify the responsibilities of the developer in the city. The developer's agreement before you tonight is the same that was used for Broadstone Villas 1. So, identical thing here. Staff did work with the developer to create this agreement and is comfortable asking council for approval.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Could you tell us, or could the city manager tell us exactly where this is going to be in relation to the first one?
Sure.
As far as location?
Yes, so there's a map on the screen, and if you could put the map back up. So the what's in blue there are the actual numbers of the new apartments. So you can see to the south of that, there's in the dotted line, those are the original apartments, and so these will actually kind of wrap around to the north and to the west of that. The road on the south is LaSalle Road, which that goes off of Rock Road to the high school. So it's just a
Okay.
little bit north of 53rd and Rock Road.
So it's right there by the ones we already.
Right next to
That's
it.
great.
Yep.
That's wonderful. Okay, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the development agreement for Broadstone Villas Second Edition and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second?
And first and second, any other questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Item D is a special use ordinance for Deer Run. Development's already begun on phase 1 of Deer Run. You guys have probably seen that out there, it's pretty exciting. But this new subdivision is going in on the east side of Rock Road. It's going to be across the street from Elk Creek. There's a natural row of trees close to Rock that are staying as a buffer. Therefore, the developer would like to install a large sign identifying the new subdivision and its location. City codes do not allow for large signs unless a special use permit is approved. Do you want to let everybody know the Planning Commission held a public hearing on the special use permit on December 15th, and they approved the special use permit by a vote of 4-1. So, and they do have a 3-year limit, which will hopefully allow for the development to be completed, and then the sign will be removed after that time. But for the sake of keeping a row of trees, I'd encourage us to do this, especially given the fact the Planning Commission approved it.
I have a question about this one too. I got 2 different impressions when I was reading the material. Is this going to be on the east side of Rock Road or on the west side of Rock Road?
Yes, it'll be on the, Deer Run is actually on the east side. And so the sign will be on the east side. The road that they're constructing is a little bit north of where the entrance is for Elk Creek along Rock Road. And it used to be a gravel driveway that went back to that Arnell's home, and it's actually going to go, that driveway will come out and a new concrete road will go in there.
I see.
And so will be on the east side.
So Arnell's are going to build a new driveway
Yeah, their driveway will actually
or come off the street?
come off the street,
Yeah.
farther back in there.
Okay, interesting. All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Bell.
I make a motion to approve an ordinance approving a special use on certain property zoned R4 located within the corporate city limits of the city of Bel Aire, Kansas, and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
We have a first and second. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
On this sign, you said that it would be taken down in 3 years or when the addition is completed. I couldn't find it in the writing anywhere. Is that written down somewhere?
Yeah, in the special use permit, it says there's a 3-year limit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it said, or if 60%, if the development is 60% full, they would also take it down.
Yeah, I read the 60%, but not the 3-year thing.
Who would enforce the 60%?
What's that?
Who would enforce the 60%?
Well, I would imagine it'd be the developer, right? Because they have the special use permit allowing them to have that sign up there. So, Mr. Lasher, do you want to
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong?
we would, at the point when they got to 60%, then we would notify them that it would be time, or 3 years, whichever would come first, then we would notify them it's time to take it down.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
I had some concerns about the sign. As you know, I'm not particularly in favor of special use permits. And so I asked about the sign, and the staff assured me that it was going to be a quality sign that they wanted to put up, and it wasn't going to be just a piece of tin out there standing up. I thought I'd mention that to members of council.
And I think you guys all saw the mock-up, right? That's okay. Okay. We do have first and second. It is an ordinance, so it does call for a roll call. And I'll go ahead and do that if there are no further questions. Okay, Ramona Becker,
Aye.
Guy McDonald.
Aye.
Betty Martine,
Aye.
Diane Nguyen,
Aye.
and I also vote in the affirmative. Okay. Looking forward to that development getting started and having the more houses, like I talked about earlier today, so. Be great. So thank you so much, and I look forward, you bet. Let's talk now about sewer and water improvements in Rock Springs 2nd and along 53rd Street. The developer is ready to move forward on Phase 1 of the Rock Springs 2nd Edition. This subdivision is located on the south side of 53rd at the half-mile line between Rock and Webb. The first public infrastructure to be installed is water and sewer mains. In addition, the city determined the need to extend a water main from Rock Spring to the Sunflower Commerce Park. And in an effort to gain better pricing, the two projects were combined into one. 5 companies responded with bids, and Nowalk Construction was the lowest. The city has used Nowalk in the past, and staff is very comfortable using them on this project. And you can see the bids and all that, and the fact, of course, anytime they come in under engineer's estimate, I like to see that.
Did we skip an item?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I believe you skipped item E.
Item E, yes, we have to do that.
We have to do that first before the bids, right?
This is, I skipped that, I'm so sorry. I did, I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself.
Okay.
So, back here. Yeah, so we do have a, just remember everything I just said. The developer, and thank you for bringing that to my attention, the developer's ready to move forward on phase 3 of the courtyards at Elk Creek. And engineering design has to begin first, and thus the developer would like to continue to utilize MKEC. They completed the engineering on phases 1 and 2. And so far, they've been pretty good to work with. So if there's any questions or using MKEC.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the engineering services agreement with MKEC Engineering for Phase 3 of the courtyards at Elk Creek and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
2 seconds. All righty, we have first and second on item E, approving MKEC Engineering Services Agreement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now, let's talk about the sewer and water improvements there in Rock Spring. So, like I said, the city, we've used No Walk in the past, and staff is comfortable with them. If you guys have any questions or motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll move to accept the bid from Nowak Construction at a price of $367,803.70 for sanitary sewer and water main improvements in Phase 1 of Rock Spring 2nd and water main extension along 53rd Street, and authorize the mayor to sign all related documents.
Second.
First and second, any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. On discussion and future issues, we heard Councilmember McDonald bring up that we'd like to discuss possibility if we need to look at an ordinance of using drones or not. Don't know if we'll be ready to have a full discussion for that at the next workshop, but certainly want to do that in the near future, I think. If everybody else, is that something that everybody else wants to, okay.
We can, I think if we have something on the agenda for the 10th, we can talk about that, but I think between now and then, I think between now and then, members of council can look at drones and see what other cities have done, and, just go on the internet, Google it, and find out what the issues are, and discuss it at the workshop.
Okay, we can add that then to the agenda, but we do have, just a reminder, our next council workshop is at 6:30 on January 10th, 1 week from today. Does that still work for everybody? Okay. and
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
what else is on the agenda?
Oh, golly. What all do we have on that? I can't even remember.
The one thing we needed to discuss would be the legislative platform
That's right,
for the
the
city.
LKM.
That's, we've got REAPs and LKMs. Let's see, there was a couple other things I've got on there, don't remember offhand what they were, but I've got an agenda
We
going.
had the personnel policy
Yes,
that we were going to
personnel.
bring
That's
back, and
Yep.
that'll be kind of time consuming.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
On the personnel policy, we're just going to get copies on it and then discuss it at the next workshop?
The pages that would need to be adapted, yeah.
Not even that much.
Yeah.
On this first, what we were going to bring back on the 10th was just an outline of those areas that we wanted you to all discuss and give us some policy guidance on going forth and developing some modifications and planning on bringing that back. So it's a discussion and input. We're not ready to present you with policy direction. We need a little input from you first.
Does this policy also include the council policy? Or is it just personnel?
This is just update to the personnel policy, which is the, you asked at the last meeting for holiday updates, and there's a couple of new federal laws and state laws that we need to do some updates on. We want to bring that back.
Okay.
If there's something else, you can get with me and let me know.
I'd like to add something to the agenda, please.
Okay, what's that?
I'd like to start a discussion on a farmer's market out here. I've already talked with Mr. Lasher, and he was really disagreeable. If they can do it on the west side, we have all this land over here where we've been gonna have a townhome or a town hall or whatever you wanna call it,
Downtown.
downtown. They could park over there, we could charge them a minimum fund to bring out their vegetables and stuff. I have a lot of contacts that I've asked about, and instead of driving, the people of Bel Aire driving clear on the west side to the extension office, I think it'd be nice for our residents if they could come out here and pick up their vegetables or bring their vegetables or their wares and that type of thing. So I'd like to discuss starting a farmer's market out here.
We can add that.
Thank you.
That goes along with some of the things we saw at the League when we took that tour of Overland Park, because I've got pictures of their farmer's market there, and it's been very successful for them.
So I guess bottom line is we will have a workshop on January 10th, and it looks like we'll have a lot to discuss. So we'll do that and we'll get stuff sent out in the meantime. Any other future issues or discussion we need to have at this point? I have no need for an executive session. Do you, Mr. Asher? Okay. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.